party anyway.
Gran marca. Sí, de calidad sí es mejor.
That's crazy. What's up, guys? If you can't tell, I'm excited. Today's vlog is very exciting for me. We have a couple things to talk about. Number one, this is part 2 of the Step 2 CS vlog series, so we'll talk about that. Number 2, we have a really exciting announcement to make at the end of this vlog, so stay tuned for that. And it involves me going to like my favorite store on the planet, B&H. If you're not from New York, you probably don't know what B&H is, but that's why you gotta stay tuned. Just entering my study period for my Step 2 CK. So I have about 3-ish weeks to kind of solidify all the information before I take the exam on July 14th. So today is really my first official day off, which means I have some studying planned and I also have some errands to take care of. First one is I'm heading to the gym to get a lift in. So come on, let's go. So a couple take-home points from the test. I felt like I had this huge game plan going into the test, and then after I actually got in and got going, that kind of went out the window and things started to become kind of like a little bit of a free-for-all in the beginning. I think if you practice the cases more, you get used to doing the specific physical exams, things should be routine. It should be like clockwork. You shouldn't have to think about it. I think if I were to go back and do things all over again, I would have probably practiced that a little bit more, because on test day, the nerves kick in, the time limit kicks in, and recalling some of that stuff becomes very difficult. I would definitely use one resource. I recommend First Aid for the Step 2 CS, and then I would go through that hardcore and just practice all of the cases, practice doing the exams, practice doing the write-ups, and then you should be okay. The other piece of advice that I have is don't anticipate that the cases on your test are gonna be exactly like the cases that are in that book. You can't really divulge much information about the cases themselves because obviously that infringes on NBME copyright stuff. But I will tell you, they're not the same thing. Have a bunch of differentials for headache, have a bunch of differentials for nausea and vomiting, have differentials for abdominal pain, so that when you walk in and somebody says something, you're not completely blown away. And lastly, when you go in to take this test, regardless of how well prepared you are, regardless of how many physical exams you've done, or anything like that, the magnitude of this test just feels a little bit more intense. And as a result, your nerves are flowing and you have a tendency to forget some things. You're gonna feel a little bit disorganized. And that's okay as long as you recover from that. Where I could have made a mistake, and I almost did, was getting hung up on all of the things that you're missing out, all of the questions that you didn't ask for the first 3 cases, and then you start thinking about that stuff and you go into the next 3 and the next 3 and the next 3, and each time you go in, you just keep building and building and building your stress, your anxiety, and then you end up having a bad test day. All right, so I got a quick lift, a quick shower, and now we're about to head into the city to go to B&H, and then I'm gonna go and catch a little bit of study time at La Colombe, one of my favorite coffee shops in the city. That's never been to B&H, basically what it is Toys R Us for adults. So it's an electronics store that has pretty much everything. It's just insane. And walking around here, I could find 100 different ways to just go broke. So the way that this store works, which is kind of unique, is it's kind of like a warehouse. So when you order stuff online, everything comes out of here. So pretty much you buy your stuff, you get a receipt, and then they send the stuff via these conveyor belts. All right, got everything, and now I'm heading over to get some studying done at La Colombe. All right, so just got back to the apartment after a nice afternoon of studying, made myself some lunch, and as you can see, I'm not great with a knife, apparently. Finally, the moment has come for me to show you what it is that we bought. What is in the bag is, I'm sure you're like, what the heck is that? This is a Blue Yeti USB microphone. So essentially it's a microphone that connects via USB to your computer that you can regulate the levels and get really good sounding recordings while you're at home. So why did I buy this? So Jim and I have made the decision that we are going to start doing a podcast this summer. He's finishing up with step 1. I'll be done with step 2 CK. And we are gonna start a podcast, and we're gonna be talking about all things musculoskeletal. So that includes chiropractic and rehab and pm&r and anything and everything that gets recommended and suggested. We're gonna try to get guests on, and as opposed to doing just the blogs, the Leaders in Physical Medicine and Rehab blog posts, we're gonna actually try to bring those people on and ask them questions and have them kind of talk back and forth. We're gonna try to maybe do some Periscope things where we can do some live, questioning from medical students that are out there and things like that. And so we're really excited about that. That's this. The reason, I wanted to make such a big deal about it is because we're really excited about the podcast. We think that it's gonna be great. We'll let you know when the podcasts and everything are gonna start. So let's take this bad boy out of the box and let's see what it's all about. And one of the things that I experimented with was what we were gonna actually use to record the podcast. Just having your mic that comes with the computer is not really good enough. So, okay, this whole thing comes out, nice little sleeve. There's all this tape on here. I need the knife that cut my finger to cut all this tape off. Okay. So we got a USB cable. We have an instruction booklet, because I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, holy beast. Dang. Okay. It's pretty sweet. All right, so there it is. As you can see, the sound quality from this guy, I'm assuming, is going to be better than what I have just native in my computer. We're gonna be ensuring you guys that we're gonna be getting some boss sound quality when we do our podcasts so that everything comes in clear. So that should be exciting. So leave some comments in the thing below letting us know what types of things would you like us to do podcasts on, and are there individuals out there who you'd like us to have on the podcast to discuss things MSK. So let us know, what do you want to hear about? Who do you want us to talk to? Who have you always wanted to find out more from? Again, as always, like, share, comment, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff so that we can continue to keep making content for you guys. I'm gonna go play with my new toy and get it all set up and nurse my finger back to health. But I'll talk to you guys soon, and we'll see you next week. Take care.